Do you know that Africa has a plan? And this plan is supposed to materialize from now to 2063. You are shocked, right? Well, I will take you through the plan and I will take you through what African leaders want to do. Although there are bumps on the road, although there are many factors to consider as far as Africa's mega plan is concerned, but please do well to subscribe to the channel for us and also like the video, as it will go a long way to help the channel. My name is Dynamic and this is What's Up Today.
He's about to go now.
The wave of African unity is blowing everywhere. And that is the more reason why of late you will see some African leaders being awakening, and most of them are asking questions. Some of the African youths have taken to the streets, some of them have taken to the internet asking some of the questions that we wouldn't have asked. Do you remember when Osajefo Dr. Nkrumah made this statement?
Our independence is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent.
The independence of Ghana is meaningless until it is linked to the total liberation of Africa. I tell you, many of us didn't see how good and how great the statement is. In fact, we never saw the magnitude of the whole statement until now. Now we are seeing why he was able to get independence for his country, but was rather supporting others, was rallying behind others to also get theirs. Because Kwame Nkrumah saw that in the future, the kind of suppression, the kind of colonialism that is coming, it is greater than the one that we experienced. He saw that the new colonialism is going to dwindle Africa down. How come Nkrumah saw some of these things in the 1960s, in the 1950s something, in the 1950s? But now, some of our African leaders are refusing to see, even with all the technological advancement, with all the information available on the internet, and also all the things that are so, exposing everything like that, they are refusing to see. On 7th January 2025, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, took to the podium when he was addressing, as his first speech taken into power for the second time. Now, Mahama said that the focus of Kwame Nkrumah was cut short. The dreams of the father of the land, it was cut short because the Westerners, because the Americans, through the CIA, took him off.
Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the founder of our nation, envisioned an industrialized, self-reliant Ghana, whose citizens have the highest standard of economic life and the greatest sense of self-esteem rooted in patriotism and Pan-African unity. But on February 24, 1966, a joint military and police coup d'etat shattered that dream, plunging Ghana into decades of instability and military takeovers. The verdict of history is now loud and clear. Declassified documents from the United States archives reveal that this was a coup inspired and engineered by the CIA.
Now, what does this tell you? If you are an African, what does this tell you? What this tells us is that, look, at this point, we are awakening. This tells us that we are now seeing the lights. I understand it will take time for some of our African leaders to rally behind. But let's not forget that we are making progress. Africa is making progress. And that is the more reason why Patrice Lumumba, in his statement when he went to Nigeria, said that, look, it is about time that we unite. It looks as if we are now seeing the essence of unity in the African continent. According to him, he said that, look, until we come together as one people, until we rally together behind ourselves, until we move as group, until we move together, the Africa can never be great.
We'll elect our governors. We'll have our ministers.
That will happen, but they are not bothered. After we have elected them, you will then see them sending their arrows ahead. You'll see Bill Gates come and meet your president. You'll see Tony Blair come and meet your president. You'll see Macron come and meet your president. You'll see all of them. And then they will never admit, but they'll be told, if you want money in agriculture, behave this way. If you want money in this area, behave this way. They will never tell that to the Chinese. They will never tell that to the Indians. They will never tell that to the Vietnamese. They will never tell that to the Koreans. But in Africa, they tell us. That is why, as I speak to you now, under this new scramble, the IMF and the World Bank are back, telling you who to hire in your universities, what to sell and what not to sell. It is a sad situation. So today, as I look at Africa in that new scramble, the Chinese are here. I hope that this institution was not built by the Chinese. The Turks are here. The British are here. The French are here. The Qataris are here. The Americans are here. This time round, they are so subtle that we don't even recognize them, but they control us. What are we going to do about it in order to develop? We must do something. And if we don't do that thing else, you who have been trained in this institution, you have traveled the world. You have traveled Nigeria. There are two things that you can do with your traveling. You can marvel. Says it is great in China. You can marvel. You can wonder or feel pain. I'm urging you to feel pain. To feel pain for the continent of Africa, and in your own way, when you go out there, go and do something about it, because it has also been demonstrated that it can be done. I've traveled across this continent and I've seen that development is possible. I was in Rwanda before 1994. I was in Rwanda in 1996. Genocide. 1 million dead. Its obituary written. Will never rise, they said. You go to Rwanda now. They are demonstrating that it can be done. Go to Kigali now. See what they are doing in the health sector in their own small way. See how they are collaborating in the area of mobile telephony in their own small way. It can be done. I've been to Botswana and I've seen what they are doing in their own small way. I've been to Mauritius, see what they are doing in their own small way. And they do not have the resources that other countries have. They do not have the resources that the Democratic Republic of Congo has. And I'm giving these examples to say that indeed it can be done, and it can be done within the continent of Africa. So what we must do is to begin to pull together.
Well, so that is Patrice Lumumba talking on African unity and how African united, in fact, how a united Africa can just affect the world. Now, he also made one thing clear, and it is one thing that I've also thought about. Now, Lumumba also talked about how disappointed that he is. Now, note this. Per his speech, it was diplomatic. But if you are a Nigerian, it is a cause to worry. Now, he said that in that esteemed university that hosted him, he tried so much, he tried his best to get internet connection. In fact, the university and the people around tried their best possible for him to get access to internet. But just look at the economy of Nigeria. Just look at how big Nigeria is, the population, the resources, the oil. And if a university in Nigeria cannot boast of a correct internet connection, then it is a cause to worry. If you are a governor, if you are a president, and if Lumumba is saying this about you, your country, regardless of how he quoted it, regardless of how he said it, ladies and gentlemen, it is a cause to worry.
You know, as I've been sitting and listening, I was also struggling to have internet in this room. And every effort was being made to connect me to internet. And all those efforts failed. Why? Because we are in an era of the Internet of Things. We are in an era of nanotechnology. It cannot be right that in Africa's largest economy, in Nigeria, I do not have internet at an institution that deals with security. You get the point that I'm trying to make? It cannot be right. And I know why we don't have internet connectivity. It is because we are divided. We have 55 telephone access codes. Nigeria 234, Ghana 233, Kenya 254, Tanzania 255, Uganda 256, Zambia 260, Zimbabwe 263. How can we, in this day and age, you cross into Benin, you cross into Togo, you cross into Guinea-Bissau, you have a different internet connectivity. Why can't Africa have a single satellite and a single telephone code so that when I travel from Mogadishu in Somalia to Dhaka in Senegal, like the Chinese do, like the Americans do, like the Indians do, we can have the same, because communication is critical to development. And I'm saying this, part of my agenda is to prick your conscience with live examples that you may go out there irritated, but irritated to do the right thing. And I'm suggesting that indeed, when we talk about development, this is what we must do. But is Africa conscious of her state? Yes, Africa is conscious. This is what makes me happy. That after all these analysis, it appears to me that Africans have now recognized that going forward, we can only defeat the conspiracies, we can only have development as we are talking about it by working as a team. And that is why, beyond the Millennium Development Goals, beyond the Sustainable Development Goals, we as Africans under the aegis of the African Union do now have our grand vision of Africa Agenda 2063. And that Africa Agenda 2063, let me tell you, if we can fulfill it, many of you here will be upstairs by the year 2063. But our contribution, perhaps you do not know what I mean upstairs, not up. You will be with the Lord himself. But the most important thing is that Africans are now beginning to see beyond the next election. Because part of our problem in Africa has been that we plan in 5-year circles. We don't have a grand agenda, but now we have a grand agenda. And if you look at the 7 pillars of Africa Agenda 2063, everything is covered. Health is covered. Research and science is covered. Climate change is covered. Women's participation is covered. Democracy and governance is covered. The arts and the culture are covered so that Africa can become a serious player in the international agenda. As we speak now, we are not a serious player.
Isn't it beautiful to see African leaders rooting together for a same cause? For some time now, African leaders have been divided. And the approach of divide and conquer has been working so very well as far as the African continent is concerned. And that brings me to what Julius Malema of South Africa said. Now, Julius Malema said that if Africa can come together with all our arable lands, with all our resources, with everything that Africa has at its disposal, we can come up with a currency that can, dominate the dollar very easily. We can even come out with a currency that will dominate the British pounds.
Right. I have no time for borders. Why? I have no time for colonialism. They don't have borders in Europe. But when it comes to us, they say, no, you must have borders. Why? The division of Africa is what makes them thrive. They thrive on the division of the African continent. Can you imagine the minerals of DRC combined with the minerals of South Africa and with a new currency based on the minerals? What we can do to the dollar if we become a United States of Africa with our minerals alone? We can collapse the dollar. We can collapse the strong pound that is based on gold, yet they don't have a gold mine.
Sometimes when you hear some of these things, you feel like, well, how can this be possible? Well, let's look at something. The British, they are not mining gold, but their gold reserve is so much that it can back their currency, it can back their pounds. And so they are pegging their pounds to the gold. And that makes the pound to be one of the greatest currencies in the world. So if a country that is not mining gold has so much gold that it can peg their currency and makes their currency one of the best in the world, just think about how a country with gold, a country with diamond, a country with magnesium, a continent with lithium, and all these natural resources, think about what they can do with their currency. Let's even put the British aside. Well, let's look at America. In 1974, Americans decided to take a decision that up until now, it has been the best decision ever. And that is the petrodollar deal. Now, when Americans decided to sign that petrodollar deal with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, that was the turning point of the dollar. So just imagine, America, the dollar is big. Everybody is now yearning for a dollar. The dollar has respect, all because it is backed by a certain oil from Saudi Arabia. So if Saudi Arabia's oil can make US dollar that big, guess how big Africa's currency is going to be if it has the backing, or if it is pegged against uranium, gold, diamond, bauxite, manganese. You just name them. All of these natural resources that we have in our country. But the biggest question is, how is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? How is African leaders going to find their voice? How are they going to come together to say that, oh, look, it's about time we come out with our own currency so we can back it, we can peg it against our natural resources? How is it going to happen? When traveling from Ghana to Togo is even a problem. When you get to the border, in fact, the whole hassles and tussles that you go through before you cross from Ghana to Togo, that is a whole level of stress on its own. When it is not very easy to move from Nigeria to South Africa, how is that going to be possible for us to come together? When it is very stressful to move from Senegal to Ghana, it is very stressful to move from Togo to even Benin, to move from Togo to Nigeria. It is very stressful, regardless of even the language barrier. It is stressful to even cross the border. But just think about it. Why is the movement from UK to France very simple? just with a speed train, shim, then you are gone. Why don't they have that same border check system that we have in Africa? No, because they want to unite. They have a united front, but they have given you a system that will continually suppress you and make you still see your fellow as, an alien, as a foreigner. When somebody is moving from US to Canada, it is very simple. If a British want to move from his territory to another country, it is very easy. But why is it very difficult for an African country, for even an African, to travel between the African countries? That is even a problem. So when are we going to solve this for the African mega project of 2063 to be possible? Because until we are able to solve all these barriers, all these movement barriers within ourselves, it is going to be very difficult. And it looks as if for now, people are seeing the need for us to come together. It is very simple. It is not so hard to put away or to even overtake the dollar. The dollar is just being backed by the oil and also America's military. So that is the more reason why, you see, for now, Putin, Russian president, is even saying that as we are talking now, the BRICS nation, they are trying so much, say they are going to trade between themselves, and their trade is not going to be done in dollars as it used to be. So now when they are selling to themselves, they are going to deal in their local currencies, and that is how currency thrives.
The timely and coordinated steps made by Russia and China to switch to national currencies in trade settlements is also a useful step. As a result, the bulk of our operations is done in yuan and rubles. This means we have a sustainable system of mutual trade that is reliably protected against any attacks by third countries and negative trends in the global market.
It looks as if everybody is sick and tired with the dollar and the whole dollar domination. No, everybody is sick and tired. And at this point, countries are rallying behind themselves. Countries are just leaning on each other. So everybody's currency will be at that level. Do you think maybe kind courtesy of what is happening in Burkina Faso, Niger, and all those Sahel states, do you think it can lead to some level of, togetherness in the African continent? Let me know what you think in the comment section. This is What's Up Today. Do you also agree with me that it is the best idea to come together? Or you think maybe we having one common currency is going to be the worst idea ever that has been conceived by an African? Well, let me know what you think in the comment section. My name is Nanya Dynamic, and this is What's Up Today on Dynamic TV Plus. See you in the next one. I'm out.
Family 3940 here. Guess what? You are watching Dynamic TV Plus. Keep on watching, subscribe, share, then leave your comments. One time, big love.